This morning I posted on my Facebook wall something that's kind of been weighing on my mind lately, and I'm starting to grow increasingly frustrated over this. I posted, I'm starting to think we might have to retire the term conspiracy theorist, seeing that they are the only ones who ever get anything right. Stay tuned to get blown away by the election fraud scandal. They're closing in, people, and they are closing in. And it's not just the election fraud scandal that conspiracy theorists have been right about. It's also the pandemic that they've been right about. And a whole boatload of other issues in the past that they've been right about. So the term conspiracy theorist is really starting to piss me off because it's mainstream media's way of trying to silence anybody who opposes their narrative. But are you surprised? This has been going on for decades. It's only until recently that people have finally woken up to the fact that conspiracy theorists are actually nothing more than just citizen journalists who aren't held hostage to a narrative. You turn on CNN, they have their propaganda machine hard at work, trying to ram down their narrative. MSNBC and a whole boatload of other news agencies that they religiously have to stick to their narrative. So why do they and why are they so obsessed about silencing these conspiracy theorists? Well, because they're actually considered competition to them. That's all they are, competition. But now with social media and the likes of Rumble and Telegram and a whole boatload of other sites that actually let you speak your mind without being thrown in Facebook jail, more people are starting to wake up to the fact that these people who have been challenging the mainstream media this entire time haven't actually been conspiracy theorists. They've been considered nothing more than citizen journalists. I, for one, try to report both sides of the stories. Yes, I may push a right-wing narrative, and I'm not going to lie, I am very biased towards the right. But I also try to give as much information as possible that cover both sides of the story. That's all any of us are really trying to do, including this one very well-known, world-renowned doctor who is actually dead set against the jab. There's been a lot of controversy over the jab, whether it's safe to take, whether it's not safe to take. I myself, and again, something I posted today, have made it very clear, full disclosure, people, full disclosure, I posted today, I'm actually not anti-jab. I'm pro-choice. What's pissing me off is the V-passport and the fact that it 100% takes away your freedom to choose what's best for your health. That is why I fight for your right to choose. And that is why all of us citizen journalists fight, because we just want to give you the ability to differentiate based on the facts, not the propaganda machine that is constantly rammed down our throat here in the United States of America. So I found this video that I'm going to play for you all just now. I found this great video online on Rumble, of course, and if I dared to show this video on YouTube, I'd be shut down mid-show. But I found this video of Dr. Peter McCullough, who discusses the dangers of the novel COVID vaccine and its rollout. And I thought, okay, how credible is this doctor? Is this really somebody that I should be listening to? Well, Dr. Peter McCullough has been the world's most prominent and vocal advocate for early outpatient treatment of SARS-CoV-19 infection in order to prevent hospitalization and death. So Dr. McCullough, he's an internist, a cardiologist, an epidemiologist, and a professor of medicine at Texas A&M College of Medicine in Dallas, Texas. Since the outset of the pandemic, Dr. McCullough has been a leader in the medical response to the COVID-19 disaster. So this isn't some kook, this isn't some crackpot, washed up, old school wannabe medical professional or some social media influencers who's trying to spread misinformation for clickbait, views, shares, likes, etc. This is a very well-renowned doctor who actually was a leader in the medical response to the COVID-19 disaster and has published many works on the situation. So let's cut right to the chase here, and I'm going to let you listen to what Peter McCullough has to say. And again, full disclosure, I'm not actually anti-jab here. I'm just pro-choice. I haven't gotten the jab. I don't plan on getting the jab. But I'll tell you right now, when I see videos like this, it really makes me question the entire situation. Let's take a listen to Dr. Peter McCullough and what he has to say.
I'm Dr. Peter McCullough, and I'm an internist and cardiologist, an academic physician, professor of medicine at Texas A&M College of Medicine on the Baylor Dallas campus. I think this whole pandemic from the beginning was about the vaccine. So I think all roads lead to the vaccine and what it means. There are already places in Southeast Asia and Europe, they're laying the groundwork for a compulsory vaccination. I mean compulsory. That means somebody pins you down to the ground and puts a needle in you. That's how bad stakeholders want vaccination. Listen, that's not of cost. You don't have to pay for it. It's all provided. There are people or stakeholders, they do want a needle in every arm. This needle in every arm is a very important moniker. Why? Why do you want a needle in an arm? Let's take COVID recovered. Can't get the virus, can't receive it. It has nothing to do. Why would they ever want a needle in the arm of a COVID recovered patient? Why? 3 studies show higher safety events. See, the tension that Americans are feeling right now as they're trying to keep their jobs and go to work is they know they can die of the vaccine. That's the problem. If the vaccine was like water and you just got it, no side effects, who wouldn't take it? Say, hey, I'll comply. They got my Social Security number anyway in a database. I'm already marked. I'll just get marked. But no, there's something very unique about this vaccine. It's something about injecting something into a body that is so important to stakeholders that it doesn't matter. Kids 12 years old told they can make their own decision on this, and it could be their fatal decision. Think about that. North Carolina just passed that. Oh, kids 12 years old can decide on their own. There are over 4,000 dead Americans. There's over 10,000 dead people in Europe that die on days 1, 2, and 3 after the vaccine. Why are we pushing this in a way where people's jobs and their education and their livelihood decide on a decision that's potentially fatal? The tension, you can cut it with a knife. There are parents that say, listen, I want my kid to go to college this year, but I don't want to lose him to the vaccine. They know what's going on. The internet is full of these cases. Blood clots, strokes, immediate death. Now, I'm fortunate. I have not directly lost a patient to the vaccine. I told you, most got vaccinated in December, January, February. Based on the safety data now, I can no longer recommend it. I can't recommend it. It's past all the thresholds to being a safe product. It's not a safe product. None of them are. It's not just Johnson & Johnson. In fact, more of the safety events in the United States have occurred with Moderna and Pfizer. There are now papers written by prominent scientists calling for a worldwide halt in the program. There are prominent virologists, many of them, including Nobel Prize winners, who have said, listen, if we vaccinate people and we create a very narrow, incomplete library of immunity, which is what the vaccine is, the vaccines are all targeted to the original Wuhan spike protein, which is long gone. That's extinct. Patients are getting vaccinated to something that doesn't even exist anymore. That Wuhan spike protein is gone. We're hoping the immunity covers the other variants, but that narrow immunity is a setup. It's just like giving everybody a narrow spectrum antibiotic. If you did that, what would happen? We'd grow up superbugs. There are warnings out there saying, don't do this. Don't vaccinate the entire world. All we're going to do is set ourselves up for a superbug that's going to really wipe out populations. So for many reasons, the vaccine, indiscriminate vaccination, is a horrendous idea. It's a horrendous bioweapon that's been thrust onto the public, and it's going to cause great personal harm, which it already has. Thousands of people have lost their lives. I've never lost a direct patient, but I've had my patients lose their family members, lots of them. I've filled out a safety report on a patient who developed blood clots after one of the Pfizer Moderna vaccine, and I'm telling you, it took half an hour to do it. There was many pages, and each page said, warning, federal offense, punishable by severe fines and penalties if I falsified a report. All those thousands of Americans that have died with the vaccine and hospitalizations in the database, I think, are real, and they are far beyond anything we've ever seen. And as a doctor and as a public citizen, I am extraordinarily concerned about the vaccine. The vaccine center right down the street here is empty. I drive past it every day. Americans know They're talking to each other. The vaccine's not safe. And now the effort is the vaccine stakeholders want kids without parental guidance, and now they want to be in the church. Americans and people worldwide should be extraordinarily alarmed.
Well, I just think that was a really good video to show you guys because, I've never heard something so credible before. I get sent stuff all the time, and I'll be very honest. I ignore a lot of it because I want to make sure that the people I'm listening to are as credible as the likes of Dr. Peter McCullough. Somebody who's actually worked on the ground throughout this pandemic, somebody who actually advised his own patients to get it, but after looking at the data, can no longer recommend it. And these are the people that we should really pay attention to. Why isn't this in mainstream media? Why isn't Peter McCullough being interviewed on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC? Why are all of these well-known, renowned doctors being silenced? And see, this is why America's skeptical. This is why we are so afraid to make a decision. Listen, we're adults here. If you just told us both sides of the story, maybe there wouldn't be so much resistance to go get the jab. People would say, okay, I feel like I've been given two sides to the story. I'll now go make my own decision. But when you're only being forced one side of the story by the mainstream media, who we all know is on life support, and our government is coming up with the most ridiculous advertisements we've ever seen in our lives. Baltimore is one of the worst. They're actually telling you that vegetables aren't going to cure COVID, that the jab will, that's the only thing to cure your illnesses. They're actually advising vaccines versus natural, healthy eating. I mean, I've never seen it like this in America. This is the most disgusting and ridiculous nonsense I've ever heard in my entire life, that American governments, both local and on a national level, are all working to force this thing down our throats rather than trying to convince us to live a healthier life.